Hello there, gang, and welcome to Displaying-Model-Behaviour, the Earth's mightiest action figure video podcast. So take off your pants, crack a beer, and let's talk toys. Let's talk about the brand new Spider-Man wave. We are going to do a pre-review. What's a pre-review? I'm not going to edit that. What's a pre-review, I hear you ask? Well, you know what it is. I review the figures before they come out, because if I wait until they come out, I'm still not going to have them, because I'm here in Japan, where it takes ages for them to arrive, and when they do, they cost an absolute fortune! Not that that's a problem, though, because it actually helps me just kind of wean myself off the Marvel Legends addiction, but you know what? I still got to get my fix, and that means that I can enjoy them vicariously through everyone else by looking at the pictures and judging them without even having them in hand. What is an action figure channel without action figures? Model behavior, baby. Don't worry, I am going to be doing reviews of action figures I can get in hand, but they ain't going to include Marvel Legends. But I know why you listen to this channel, and aha, that's the key word there. Listen, I know how this thing works. You click on model behavior, you minimize me, then you go about doing other stuff, but then, little subconsciously, you can hear some bozo talking about action figures, and honestly, that's what we love, isn't it? Just to have somebody just talking stuff. I was going to say talking trash, but I'm not going to talk trash. I'm going to actually say some nice things about some things in this wave. And that's what we like to do. We like to enjoy just having a bit of action figure talk. So let's not stand on ceremony, Mr. Wayne. I went a bit Sean Connery there. Let's not stand on ceremony, Mr. Wayne. Let's talk about him. Coming in hot with the very first figure. We're going to rank these, but I'm not going to do them in a ranked order. We're going to do that at the end. But just coincidentally, we're probably going to do the best one first. Daredevil. Elektra Daredevil. This, you can always tell in any wave, this is where the money went. Yeah, pretty much completely original looking sculpt here, and they really, they went ham on her. And this is a character design that when it first was, revealed in the comics, I think a lot of us thought, you know what? That would make a good-looking action figure, and it does. I mean, they've really done a beautiful job of completely perfectly capturing this wonderful ninja/Daredevil mashup costume. It's great. It's not been around for a long time, but it's gonna have some longevity, I feel. These bumbles and edits, I'm gonna keep them in. You got to keep it real. You got to keep it raw. All right, that's what model behavior is all about. Reviewing action figures that we don't have and keeping it real and raw. Those are the two tenets I live my life by. And never forget where you came from. The three tenets I live my life by. And the fourth one is give credit where it's due to good action figures. And this is a good looking action figure. The box itself, goes for all the boxes, okay? Always going to be beautiful. And I like the fact that they've gone for a slightly different carded design. Some people weren't happy with the switch. So you've got the retro carded 90s animated Spider-Man cartoon card backs, and then you've got the different ones for the more modern figures. And I kind of like that. And honestly, if you're a retro in-card collector, you should like that too, because it means that you don't have to get all the modern figures to have a complete retro set. They actually do distinguish them. I kind of like that. So this Daredevil Elektra, yeah, what she is lacking, I feel, are a few accessories and a bit of extra paint. She does feel a bit plain Jane. The red looks a little bit flat in my eye. Some more shading, and again, you could just blanket this across the entire wave. Bit of shading, bit of dry brushing, bit of highlights. Because we're paying, our sort of mid-$20 kind of prices, and I'm starting to kind of accept that those are the prices, and it's not that crazy, especially if you do order these as a full wave. A lot of places do a discount. God bless your Comics and Cocktails. They will normally do buy a wave and sort of get a figure effectively free, so that's kind of nice. It softens the blow a little bit. What also softens the blow are all the pinless joints on this thing. Yeah, no pins in the elbows, no pins in the knees. That looks really lovely. She's got the two big thighs as well. What she doesn't have are fist hands. But you know what? I'm not going to mark her down for that, because she's got two thighs. Two thighs, two thigh-holding hands. So that's all right. An unmasked Elektra head would be a real nice touch. However, we do have a couple of Elektra heads, so I'm not saying that, oh, well, that's not a problem because you already got them. Because that annoyed me with Bullseye, where people were like, it doesn't matter if he doesn't have guns, you've got guns from other figures. Shouldn't matter, okay? So you can do some head swaps with Elektra, but it would be nice to have actually had one in the box. It would have felt like more of a complete package. But that notwithstanding, with the beautiful ripples in the costume to make it look like fabric and flowing ninja-gi, I think it's really effective. This figure, yeah, she's a bit gorgeous. So as a grade, I'm going to give Elektra a 6.5 out of 10, which is above average for a Marvel Legend. The package itself with the box looks beautiful. All unique original sculpt. That's really, really great. She's got the size. That's nice. Doesn't have an alternate head though. No alternate hands either. And the paint could be improved. So in that regard, I'm not going to bump her up too much. But bearing in mind on the model behavior scale, 5 is an average figure. Alright? So everyone says that I score low, but I consider that for across the board. So 5 is average. Elektra, she's above average. Not just 1 point above average. She's 1.5 points above average. So for that, I think she's pretty damn decent. Now for this next one, we have got a real contentious figure. A lot of people have been debating and discussing this. So I'm going to throw my 2 cents in as well. Mainly Miles Morales in his new costume, which has already, I do believe, been taken away and he's reverted back to his original, because if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But for a short time, Marvel Comics thought, no, we need to fix this really popular Spider-Man design. And boy howdy, did they do a thing. And now Marvel Legends have immortalized that dubious decision with this action figure. But is it a good action figure notwithstanding? It's okay. It's okay. I'll give it that, but that's about it. This figure has one big issue, which you can understand with the design of it. He's got this huge big hoodie, and of course, that limits some of your movement and articulation. But I got to say that one thing they have done is they have the hoodie sort of high enough so that he's not going to limit any of the leg and hip articulation. So you can still get his legs in those kind of cool, jumping, spidery sort of poses. Really, you're just losing a bit of an ab crunch. And from what I've been told, from what I understand, he does have the ab crunch underneath there. It's just the hoodie is going to limit that. But it's a bit of a softer kind of plastic, so you can probably still manipulate it a little bit. So it's not completely losing that. And I give credit where it's due for that. Now, there are some big points about this figure that I genuinely do like. First of all, again, pinless. He's got this big baggy hoodie, which, your mileage is going to vary depending on whether or not you like that style. Most people didn't, from what I understand, just the feedback that I've heard. I don't want to speak for all you out there. If you do enjoy that, more power to you. Model Behavior, the least confrontational channel on YouTube. But it's all pinless, which is very nice because those pins then don't break up the flow and the ruffles of the hoodie. It looks like he is actually wearing a hoodie. I give credit for that. And it's an interesting design with the kind of ninja zip up to the top kind of look. I don't think I like it with a full face mask as well. I think it looks a bit weird. Like a salami where you're peeling the wrapper back or something else. I don't know. It doesn't look like a good look to me, but it was an experiment. I think any of those sort of ninja style, mask half up here kind of thing, you need hair and a shave or clean head. A Spider-Man mask with that on top, it's like wearing a hat on a hat. It just doesn't really make sense for me, I don't think. Even the Scarlet Spider, who they kind of credit, again I say they, the nebulous they, people, I've seen them, they credit as being like the original hoodie-wearing superhero. He always had the hood down. It's only been in more recent artwork where people have drawn him with the hood up, looking all moody and Batman-ish and emo with his hood up. 99% of the time, Scarlet Spider has the hood down because it makes sense. Also, if you're web swinging, that's just going to get blown back anyway, I would assume. So yeah, it's an unusual design. Don't think it necessarily kind of worked. And another thing that I know people have a bone of contention with, and I do as well, is sneakers on spider people, or shoes of any kind on spider people. That should cut off your wall crawling ability with your feet. The whole point is that your feet stick to walls. The trainers don't stick to walls. So that doesn't make sense to be wearing sneakers if you're a spider person. I like the visual look of it. I have to admit, visually, I think, that looks kind of cool. I like the design. It breaks things up, and the details on these shoes, they actually look pretty cool. I like the way it's done, but canonically, it just doesn't make sense. There was some wonderful artwork from Spider-Man The Untold Tales where it's Peter climbing the wall and he's got his shoes like tied together with the laces like slung over because of course he has to take them off to climb walls. Except this guy. No, he's fine. And apparently the new Spider-Boy, he's got sneakers as well. What is it with you kids and sneakers? I don't know. We're belaboring the point. Also, with the hoodie, I do like the fact that they've gone and added some extra sculpted detail. The spider logo here seems to be actually sculpted. Makes a nice difference. A bit of, they didn't need to do that. They could have got away with just painting it, but it's sculpted there. That's nice to see. And also just the little drawstrings around the waist at the bottom. They're actually sculpted on there, sticking out, makes the character feel more three-dimensional, not just a painted buck that's been put out there, but someone's gone, no, let's actually invest in sculpting and attaching and doing this extra bit of work to add the value to the figure. And that is appreciated. It's expected as well for the price that you pay. Again, $26, $25, you buy 4 of these, that's over $100, all right? That's numbers. You learn stuff with model behavior. I can't tell you how much 4 of them cost, but I can tell you it's over $100 and less than $1 million. What I am going to say though is accessories. You don't have much. He's got the thwip hands, but that's it. Ideally, any Spider-Man, you know what you need. You need the thwips, you need the fists, and you need the wall crawling hands. So that's ideal. And again, no unmasked head either. And also for this wave, no bath piece. So no bath piece and no extra accessories. Still the regular price, Hasbro? What's going on with that, hey? Where's the value for money there? I'm just saying. I'm just asking questions. That's all I'm doing here at Model Behavior. And any explanation besides because we want more money. Anything besides that would be very, very welcome. So let's do a little grade for this figure. I'm going to give him a 5 out of 10. Which is actually a basic, average Marvel Legend. Because you know what? He's got a bit of unique sculpting on there. He's pinless, that's all great. But similar to Elektra, I think the colours are a little bit flat. And again, it can be a bit difficult because it's a comic book design. It is just kind of basic colours. But when you have a three-dimensional character, I kind of want more brought to it. Or if the paint is going to be kind of flat, which could be fair because that is just the costume, then give us some added value. Give us an extra Miles head. Give us anything to just zhuzh him up a little bit. Because I want some more zhuzh for my figure. I feel like you're bare bones getting what you pay for. And because of that, you get a bare bones grade, not below average, but bang on, 5 out of 10. Hey, what's going on? Why does everything look different? I'll tell you why. Because I just sat down to edit this video and then realized that I didn't talk about the rows. That's the kind of quality control we have here at Model Behavior. I'm a one-man show! I can't police myself, believe me. I've tried. Even the police have a hard time doing it. So, the Rose is getting inserted, into this section here. And you know what? He's actually the second best character in this entire wave. I've decided. And clearly I am the authority on Marvel Legends. Yeah, move over all you people who actually, know stuff. So I like what they've done with him. I love the fact that we have a Rose. When I do my countdown at the end of this video, he won't be included in it because that countdown was made by earlier Dave, who's a dumbass, and he forgot the Rose. Luckily, your boy's here now, and I got this thing on lock. So the Rose, they actually did a reasonably good job with him. Wow, that's damning with faint praise, isn't it? But look, the basic suit body is okay, but it looks like he totally bought that off the rack. That's his big brother's hand-me-downs. That suit don't fit, is what I'm saying. And that makes it look cheap. That's a bit of a shame. But also, it almost kind of works because the Rose is... He's kind of a screw-up. Like, he's Wilson Fisk's loser son, basically. Like, yeah, he's had some moments of, villainy. I'm sorry, I'm tired. He's had some moments of villainy success. There you go, that's what I was trying to say. But he really isn't a big bad. So the fact that his suit is kind of ill-fitting, I kind of like it. It kind of works. Then the actual Rose mask, yeah, that's fine. That's good. I would have preferred it if he had clear lenses in his glasses so that you could see the eyes underneath. But I would say the vast majority of Rose artwork, they are just, chrome lenses, so you can't see that. So that's fine. It's accurate. I ain't mad about that. And then also, what I'm not mad about is the extra accessories. He's got an extra pair of hands. That in itself is great. And they're interesting hands as well. He's got what I would call doing stuff hands. So that's nice to see. And he's got stuff to do stuff with. He's got 2 machine guns. That's great. Nice to see guns as well. We're a bit worried about whether or not Hasbro were phasing out guns, like Bullseye not coming with one, even though he has a holster. Still so bad. And it's even more egregious now because clearly they are still doing guns. So what was that all about? And then also he has a very nice little rose accessory as well. So you can pose him holding the rose, sniffing that with a gun in his hand. Like that's actually pretty badass. So yeah, I gotta say, I like this figure. I like him a lot. Would a bit more paint have been nice? Yes, would a bit more paint have been nice. Of course it would have. An unmasked head, you know what? I don't think you need it. Rose is fine in that regard. So yeah, I'm actually gonna give this figure, I'm gonna give it a solid 5.5 out of 10. I like what they've done with this. A couple of little blast effects, a muzzle flash, or a bit of smoke to plug into the gun. That would have been nice, but 5.5 out of 10? Yeah, I think that's kind of fair. So add those numbers to the final tally at the end. You got to do some of the work. You can't just sit back and watch and enjoy these videos. No, you got to actually put in some work to make any sense out of them. And now one of the most anticipated and requested figures we've had for the longest time, Tarantula. And he's, at first glance, I was like, don't like it. Don't like the look of him. Why, Dave? I don't know. I just don't like the look of him. I can't quite put my finger on it. First of all, I'm happy though. I'm happy we're getting a tarantula. I would actually get him just for my classic Spider-Man display. But with this figure, I guess there's not a huge amount you can do with him. It is just a basic skin-tight body. So I appreciate just painting the costume on there. Absolutely fine. And the way that they've integrated the points, the spikes on the boots, yeah, that actually works really well. I think it's a nice little bit of engineering. They've done a good job with that. And I hope you like that because that's it. There's no other accessories. Nothing. Just butt kiss, goose egg, zilch, nada, zero, zip. It's come on, like that package looks real empty, Hasbro. It looks real empty. So I figure, like, you know, you've done another new fresh head sculpt for him, obviously, kind of essential, and it looks decent. And I like the fact that he doesn't have a generic look on his face. He's got kind of a smirky sort of look. And Tarantula is a smirky, snarky kind of a character. So that actually fits really well. I like it, but I don't love it. I would want to have my Tarantula kind of launching himself into battle. Big jumping, flying kick. I figured that deserves more of a rah kind of a face as opposed to a I'm gonna kick you, see? Don't know why he's turned into a 1930s gangster, but there you go. So I think that they could have done more with what they're doing. Now, I don't have this guy in hand, obviously, but I'm thinking it would be nice if at least with the tassels on the back of his bandana, if you can reposition those, move them around, rotate them, that's not an unusual thing to have for an action figure. And I think if you are going to put him in a jumping, flying pose, it would be nice to be able to have that, but at least they are kind of blowing in the breeze slightly, so it does work. But I figured that, I mean, come on. This character is a martial artist. Like, that's his whole gimmick. He's got spiky feet and martial arts, but he's only got fist hands? Really? Really, guys? Come on. What about some karate chop action? What about, claw style? Anything. I mean, fists are like the essential. Okay, if I could only choose one for a character like this, yes, I would go for fists, but you're charging hard-earned money. We all got to go out there and work these jobs and earn our cash. So you got to give us a little bit of bang for our buck. This doesn't feel very bangy for my bucky, and that's a shame because also it's not on the new Vulcan bucks. Speaking of bucks, he's got his pins going on. At least they're not egregious. It's the same body mold, I think, as my Ben-reilly back there, and Ben-reilly's pins look ass ugly because it's red dots on blue. Whereas at least here, the legs, that's fine. It's red on red, no problem. It doesn't even really matter. But with the elbows, it kind of works because it's black on red, and his whole costume is black on red, so it kind of sort of fits. That's all right. And speaking of colours, the mask, The mask is a tricky one, because they've gone kind of like a sky blue, like a baby blue on the mask. And I always envision Tarantula having a black mask. And it's one of those awkward comic tropes where you can always argue, is that color black? Or is that color dark blue? Is it black with blue shading? Is it blue with black shadows? And, Hasbro have just decided, no, it's blue, and it's a bright baby blue, and I don't know how well that works. Also, and again, stop me if I'm wrong, but Tarantula, he's Hispanic? Is that right? His skin tone looks very pale. Even if he was a Caucasian character, I would still look at that skin tone and go, it's very pale. You need to go get some sun. Look at Seamus over here. Like, get some vitamin E, man. So yeah, I feel like the skin tone doesn't really seem quite what I would expect. But also, stop me if I'm wrong. If you're looking at him going, no, he's from this place, that's actually perfect. Shut up, Dave. Your ignorance is showing. Then do let me know. But that just kind of looked a bit egregious to me. So as a rank and a grading for Tarantula, it pains me, but he's below average. He's on an older buck, no extra accessories, a head sculpt which is okay. Best I can do you is 4 out of 10. Now we got Jessica Drew, Spider-Woman, and having just done Tarantula and going on to her and seeing the next 2 figures that I got coming, I then suddenly realized, man, there's a whole lot of repainted bucks and new head sculpts in this wave, isn't it? Just flat bodies and new heads, and that's going to bring it down a little bit. Not way down, but Jessica Drew, let's take a little look at her. What do you got? You got the plain basic Shriek body with a new head. And I'm not going to belabor the point. There's not much else to it. Again, the packaging looks pretty empty. At least she's got some extra hands. So that's one up on Tarantula, but besides that, there's not a heck of a lot there. There doesn't appear to be, and stop me if I'm wrong, but there doesn't appear to be any extra sculpting on the body. They could have sculpted but a little bit of a raise in that spider symbol on the chest. That would have added some value to the figure, but no, that's just flat painted as well. And I know that you can argue, and we always do, and I kind of agree, that the good thing about Marvel Legends is that because they kind of cheap out on stuff, we get obscure characters and obscure costumes, and we're going to get to those next. So I do appreciate that you're not going to pump hundreds of thousands of dollars into making a figure that maybe just like a couple of people want. I get it. It's economics. But at the same time, we got to look at our personal economics as well. And we say, well, it is a bit of a random, not sticking around for long costume. Do I want to spend much money on that? And I'd say, well, it's probably not, to be honest. And kind of a funny thing, I mean, this is jumping ahead, but we've got a new Spider-Woman coming out with the Skrull in the 2-pack soon, and it's not a new Spider-Woman, it's just the old Spider-Woman. So do Spider-Woman right. We're getting 2 Spider-Women this year. One is a quick job on a costume that's already been forgotten, and the other one is a re-release of a very, very old one that needs an update. So poor old Jessica Drew. She's not getting her dues. And also, speaking of which, the head sculpt is acceptable. But that's all it is. It's just like I used to get on my school report cards. I was told, David does the bare minimum to get by. And I'm like, yes, because I don't care about what I'm doing. And that's fine in school with academics and your future. But we're talking about a company that makes action figures here. Doing the bare minimum just to get by, that's not okay. It's a very neutral facial expression, which is all right if maybe you had another head sculpt that was more interesting, more animated. And look, Hasbro, you could do this with existing female head sculpts. You don't even have to sculpt something new. Just take something you've got. Take some existing hair. Take a generic female face that's maybe got some more expression to it, and just zhuzh it up a little bit. You don't have to do something from scratch, but it would be nice if you did do something. Because this plain Spider-Woman, again, I know there's 2 different camps out there. There's the camp that likes neutral expressions, and there's a camp that prefers animated stuff. I'm always going to go more animated, but I appreciate that's not for everyone. But what I would like is a choice in the matter, but you didn't give me that. You took that choice away, and because of that, I'm only going to give you a... Is it below average? Or is it an average? Is this an average Marvel Legend? For this price, I'd expect better. So no, you know what? She's getting the 4. That's all you're getting, Spider-Woman. Must try harder. Whoa, now strap yourselves in, because I got a lot of thoughts about these next two characters, because it's my favorite comic book character of all time. It's Ben-Reilly, and just when I thought that they couldn't do worse by this character, Marvel were like, yo, hold my beer, we're gonna annihilate this character. So Ben-Reilly, the underdog hero, the guy who turned out to be a clone and tried so hard to fix his life, is now just a despicable villain, because screw you, long-term readers. We got no time for you. We got to shake things up. So, yeah, we just off the back of an amazing Ben-Reilly flashback miniseries that reestablished what a great hero he is. Nah. He's a one-note villain. So, Chasm is what we've got. And what's kind of annoying for me is that I actually really like the Chasm design. And if they had been more faithful to the character of Ben-Reilly and not just murdered it, I would have actually quite liked this as a new interpretation of the character. I appreciate, look, if Marvel is so headstrong and being like, no, can't be more than one Spider-Man, even though we literally have limitless infinite numbers of Spider-Men in Spider-Verse, which they just can't stop themselves from overdoing. One guy we can't have as Spider-Man is Ben-Reilly. No, he's Chasm now. And he gets a figure. And it's adequate at best. But really not. Okay, look. I like the Chasm design. I like the colours. The swirly-whirly stuff. It's good. You can tell. They must have got some early concept art and gone, we got to bust this one out fast. Why? Wait until you see more from the character. It might give you a better idea as to what to do so you don't get a superior Spider-Man again. This Chasm is, as I said, dude, it's adequate. But that's it. He's got a couple of swirly-whirly, wishy-washy power effects. They're okay. It's what he needs for his powers. But also, if you'd hung on a little bit longer, you would have seen that also Chasm's powers are he can create weapons out of this stuff. So if he had come with like a translucent sword or a big translucent battle axe, you see, that would have zhuzhed it up, made it real nice. Also, he's on an older buck with pins. If it's Spider-Man, especially if he's a clone of Spider-Man, renew your vows, buddy. That would have been what you want for Spider-Man. But no, he's on the older buck. And there's no sculpting of the costume at all. This is all flat, just flat paintwork on the buck, which again is a bit of a shame. This is a sort of an organic-y, weird kind of costume. His powers make no sense at all. Nor does the origin of his powers or anything to do with the garbage take on this character. So it is just flat paint. He's got his web shooters, which I do kind of like. I've always liked the old external web shooters, even though what do they shoot now? Who cares? They're there. And I do like that they've kind of blended the black paint with the silver, and it looks kind of like a wash. That's good. I like it. It's decent. But, I mean, that's pretty much where it ends. Besides that, it's a real basic bare-bones figure. And if ever a character needed a second head sculpt, this is one. And guess what? You've got a bajillion Peter Parker head sculpts that you could use. You've got blonde Ben-Reilly head sculpts. You could have so easily thrown in a Ben-Reilly unmasked head there, and it makes sense. He takes off his mask all the time in the story. Draw a couple of bags and shadows under his eyes, make him look a bit browbeaten. It writes itself. But no, again, it's bare minimum, and it's not a great version either. So even though I like the color scheme and the design and the lines look clean and whatnot, it's not what it could have been, should have been, and maybe even would have been. And because of that, you're getting a 4. And finally, we've got our second dose of Ben-Reilly with the Spider-Man Beyond suit. And this... we got thoughts about this. I cannot believe that we're living in a day and age where I get 2 new interpretations of Ben-Reilly in a Spider-Man wave, and I'm filled with bile and vitriol. Can't even get the words out. It's like flames out the side of my head. Spider-Man Beyond, the biggest disappointment since the Phantom Menace. This was something that was going to be the resurrection of Ben-Reilly and his reintegration into the pantheon of Spider-Man characters. No. It was the start of the massacre of Ben-Reilly, and it began with the massacre of the Ben-Reilly Spider-Man costume, where they had the sensational Spider-Man costume. Was honestly, see right behind me there, like no recency bias or nothing. This is like 30 years ago, 20 years ago, I don't know how old I am. the actual best version of the Spider-Man costume, I think. It was upgraded for the 90s in just a nice way that didn't destroy it, just zhuzhed it up a bit, and it looked great. And they thought, well, we're going to bring back Ben-Reilly. Shall we bring back the classic costume? Hell no! Let's bring back this weird, awkward-looking monstrosity that no two artists can draw the same. Because someone had the bright idea of going, let's have this spider in the middle, but not in the middle. Let's have it off-center. And then, shall we tell everyone that it's off-center? No, let's just, I'll mention it to Mike in editorial, and I'm sure he'll pass on the memo. Yeah, he didn't. Thanks, Mike. So all the different comic books have the suit looking slightly different with the positioning of the spider logo. And that's not all. Another great thing about Ben-Reilly, what did I mention? The web shooters on the outside. Nah, get rid of that. We're redesigning it so it's kind of sort of hearkening to it. That's the problem with this costume design. It harkens to something that was better. Why not just use the thing that's better? No. We're going to do something lame, but it'll remind you of the better thing. So yeah, the off-center spider logo, that's hearkening to the main proper spider logo. The slightly redesigned wrist web shooters hearken to the proper web shooters. Except you wouldn't know that on the Marvel Legend, because he don't have nothing on those wrists. It's just plain Spider-Man webs. So it's not actually a real representation of this suit. It's a cheaper one. Because, I mean, it's just a bit of a slightly redesign. A redesign on the hands and the webs. Do you want to do that? No, just gonna reuse the old stuff. So it's kind of cheaping out, which is a shame, because you're using the Renew Your Vows body. So you're using the nice Spider-Man body. I mean, I double thumbs up. Yes, that's great. You got the toe articulation. So good. Love that. Never thought I was a toe bro, but here we are. You got the pinless joints, all that good stuff wasted on this garbage costume, which is such a shame. And then, of course, the biggest bone of contention is it's red and black. The costume's not red and black. It's red and blue. At no hint in any of the Spider-Man Beyond stories did it look like the costume was red and black. It's always been the same as Peter Parker with the red and blue. And you could argue maybe, as I said before, that like, oh no, it's black with blue highlights, or it's blue with black highlights. No. The costume's freaking blue. Alright? And this is black, and it's such a weird choice. Because it's such a boring looking costume anyway. Why would you make it more boring by making it black? Doesn't make any sense. You've made it a more dull color. It's not going to pop off the shelf like it could have. You're hampering yourself. You're literally you're not literally. You're metaphorically. I hate it when people get that wrong. You're metaphorically shooting yourself in the foot by making your character less interesting. Then at least what they do is a new doo-doo. There's a lot of doo-doo in this wave. But they do a nice Spider-Man head design. I like the big eyes. It's very reminiscent of a specific artist whose name I cannot remember. But I saw it and I was like, oh, I recognize that artwork. That's great. You've taken the artwork and gone, boom, we're going to recreate that. And they did. And I like it. I'm not like a huge fan, but I do like it. And that's great. Okay, so that's really good. But again, it's Ben-Reilly, the distinctive blonde Peter Parker. Another mask would have been on another head sculpt. Another head sculpt would have been so easy to just throw in there. And again, this is happy Ben-Reilly. This is Ben-Reilly in that 5 minutes of his life where things are actually going his way. So you can just use your happy Peter Parker head with blonde hair. You've literally got that for your Retro Scarlet Spider. Throw it in there. No, not going to bother. But what they do is give us some extra hands. More doo-doo. But they're not matching hands. So let me just glance down here. You've got the two fists, all right, but then you've got one thwip hand and one wall-crawling hand. And like, okay, but really? I don't know how much extra hands cost. I'm just a schmuck in front of an iPhone making videos, but come on, like I have mild obsessive compulsive disorder. I need things to match. I need symmetry. All right. So having one thwip and one thing. No, just come on, just. Oh, it's like it feels like you're nickel and diming your audience again. It really does. It's like, oh, we gotta give them something. All right, we'll give them one of each. Really? We can't. No, screw them. They get one of each, so they don't match. That's kind of how it feels. So this character, this costume, I can't rank him high. Mostly because it's not accurate. They went cheap with it. The only really original thing there is the head sculpt. Even though the Renew Your Vows body is lovely, that jacks it up a bit. But really, because it just doesn't, it feels below average considering what it should be. With only a couple of extra hands, no extra head, and an inaccurate costume with the colors all dull, yeah, you get a below average 4 out of 10. So to round out, let's rank these figures from worst to best. And coming in the last place for me, I gotta say, it's Spider-Woman. A bit of a disappointment there. Not much going on and a bland kind of face sculpt. It's the bare minimum required for a figure, and by Jove, that's what they gave us. Then we get the dull-looking, inaccurate, kind of an abomination of a character assassination. It's Spider-Man Beyond. Following that, we are picking things up a little bit with the Chasm figure. They could have done a whole lot more, and it's not as much as it could have been, but it's a design that I do like, even though it has some shortfalls, so therefore he comes right in the middle of the set. Then we get Miles Morales, who actually is a higher ranked figure points-wise than the next one after him, but I'm just not a fan of this costume design. So just for me personally and my preference, he might be a better figure, but I'm only putting him in the middle of the pack. Then at the number 2 spot, we've got Tarantula. And even though, again, very basic as far as the figure goes, I like the brightness of the red. They've gone for the blue mask, and at least that makes it pop a little bit. The facial expression is kind of fun, even though I would like more of a battling kind of look. But nonetheless, he is adequate to fill that gap in the shelf. And that gap has been there for a long time. He's a classic Spider-Man villain, so I'm always going to have some love for that. So, as I said, the Rose is actually number 2, making Tarantula number 3. And yeah, sorry about the guerrilla filmmaking, but that's what you get with model behavior. Unprofessionalism. Finally, in the number 1 spot, it can't be a surprise to anyone. It is Elektra Daredevil. Yep, this figure is where the money and the effort and the time has clearly gone. And it shows. She could have had some more accessories like an unmasked head and some different hands, but what we do have is really nicely done. The sculpting looks great, all original, no pins. That is where you want to see your money going, on fresh, new, good-looking stuff. That's what she is. I'm impressed. That's a really, really great figure. If it was a whole wave of figures like that, oh, man, it would be like living in Shangri-La, but that's not the way life is. And gang, that does it for my review, my pre-review of the Spider-Man wave. No Build-A-Figures to speak of, which is, again, it's a shame. This is a wave that kind of lends itself to the Build-A-Figure concept. Spider-Side would have been a fantastic character as a Build-A-Figure because this whole set kind of broad bridges, you know, the times from classic to 90s, modern. It would work to have a big 90s character Build-A-Figure in there, but that's not what we get with these retro card back style figures, and that is a shame. But hey, look, Hasbro going back to their old packaging. So maybe we can go back to some of our old ways, bring in some more Build-A-Figure pieces, remind us of the times when we really loved what Marvel Legends were doing. So gang, that was my take on these figures, but I want to hear yours. So what do you think about them? Do you think I'm too cruel and too mean and, too harsh on these figures? I don't know. I'm just calling them like I see them. So comment below, let me know. And gang, thank you so much for watching. If you want to support the channel, then you can do simply by clicking the like, share, and subscribe buttons. And don't forget to smash that notification bell. But if you want to go one step beyond, you can also do that too, like Spider-Man Beyond. Whew, don't ever read that story. It's garbage. But you can go over to patreon.com/displaying-model-behaviour, toss a couple of bucks my way, and you can enjoy the exclusive series that we have on there, such as my deep dive into the X-Men animated TV show, where I do commentaries for every single episode, and we talk about the action figures that are presented in those stories. First episode is up there live now. I had such a good time doing it. I think we're going to race through these because it's a good time. And you can also get those videos if you are a channel member as well. Whichever flavor of support you want to get, you'll get the benefits there too. So gang, thank you so much for watching. You know what? While I'm plugging, go over and join the Facebook page as well. We're having a great time on there. And follow me on Instagram. All the links are in the description below. All right. All the links are in my crotch. No, don't. In the description below. Gang, thank you so much for watching. And until next time, keep displaying model behavior.
Cup of coffee, half a cup of coffee. Big time.